Hello, Richard, and everybody watching this, and welcome to a wonderful new platform where I am very honoured to be interviewing some incredible people. Now, not just from the same industry, but across lots of different industries and also internationally. And we're going to get under the hood a little bit and find out what they're doing. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce the one and only today, under the spotlight, Richard Sharpe from the Sharpe agency, who is one of the co-founders and the creative director based in Yorkshire and London. So hello, Richard. And first and foremost, how are you feeling today?
Good, yeah. Well, the sun's shining. It'll probably come blasting in my eyes any moment. But yeah, no, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm a bit of an early starter, so I
Yeah.
was out this morning at 5:30 running with the dog,
Wow.
and but then of course I get really tired during the day, so I found that an afternoon nap works wonders for me. I think that's an age thing, but I do speak to other business people, and they say, "Oh yeah, an afternoon nap for 20 minutes is a great thing to do." So that'll do for me. I like that. So yeah, feeling pretty good. Yeah, I mean it's been a weird time, hasn't it? And I think you got to find the positives and focus on those. And we all have a bad day, of course we do, but you're just going to turn that around back into enjoying where you are and what you can do at any time.
This is so true. And I might add, I absolutely love your shirt, Richard. Up with the larks and dressed in your Sunday best. Tell us a
Well,
bit
yeah,
about
well,
this shirt.
I'd have to be honest and say I've probably worn exactly the same clothes for the last 2 months. And because I knew I was doing this, I thought, outdoor clothing might not be quite the thing for this. So I opened up my wardrobe and discovered all these clothes that I'd not seen for 2 months. Went, whoa, where did all these come from? And then I had a favourite shirt, so I thought, well, I'll wear my favourite shirt.
Yeah.
It's got a bit of colour to it, and I decided that would be pretty good. I like to wear this shirt.
It looks superb. And now we met, didn't we? Oh gosh, I'm going back quite a number of years now. And talking of, that nice, bright and snazzy feeling, I remember you very kindly sent me one of the famous bright yellow Sharpe agency mugs, which we still have in the office. It's wonderful.
Yeah, we kind of when we first started, we just did some yellow mugs, and an agency I'd worked at previously, we'd done it, and they'd always been really popular, and so we just started sending them. We had different types of mugs. We had a new job mug,
Mhm.
so if somebody changed job, we sent them a mug that said "Sharp Move" on it,
Yeah.
and so we watched people in our industry were moving around. And we had other mugs that, the messages have changed over the years about different creative things. But what we found is that people kept them.
Yeah.
And, we still come across some of our very, very first mugs from 10 years ago. But it's made people remember us, and we've kept conversations going, and business has come as a result of people opening the cupboard one morning, seeing a yellow mug and going, oh yeah, do you know, those guys might be worth talking to about this particular project, and they get in touch. So we've
Yeah.
just kept doing it. I've lost count of, we must have sent thousands of the things out over the last 10 years, but it's been an odd little new biz thing that's worked really, really well for us.
Yeah, it's the sunshine mug. You when you want to start your morning brilliantly, you think, right, let's have the bright yellow mug, and you feel rocking and raring to go. And and I think it's key, isn't it, at this moment in time? It's it's all about well-being and communicating and bringing all of those things together. And I really want to come up to the point where we're going to ask you some great questions about what's happening in the industry, what you've found, innovations. But first of all, tell us, what's your guilty pleasure during the lockdown, Richard? What has it been?
Well, I don't know that I've got a single guilty pleasure. I don't know if I've got anything that exciting to say. I suppose in a way I'm doing more of the things that I
Yeah.
maybe don't get to do as much. I like to get out on my bike. I like to go running. I've been getting out and doing lots of exercise, but I'm lucky where I live. I live on the edge of the Peak District, so fell running has been a guilty pleasure of mine for probably about 20 years. So to be able to get up early with the dog and head out into the hills, it's been really, really enjoyable. And, we had a lovely run this morning to a little valley that I know that's just full of rock pools. And it was a beautiful sunny morning, and so just running up that valley with all those rock pools and the dog going for a swim has been really pleasurable. I've watched all the Star Wars movies. I've read some really bad novels. I've had a go at cutting my own hair, which I quickly gave up on. All those silly things that you do. But yeah, I suppose not one main thing, just lots of things, and just trying to make the best of the situation.
Definitely, and thank you for sharing that. I think there's a real positivity in honesty right now, and I think that a lot of people kind of have that refreshing moment where they say, yes, what I'm doing is normal like everybody else. And I think that all of those wonderful blessings that you mentioned, just going out and having that time. I know you're a family man, you've got 2 daughters and your dog. I mean, that's great, going out and having those moments. And it leads me on to something that I was very inspired as well, might I say to you, and I really do want to, big you up a little bit here. So sorry if it makes you feel a bit uncomfortable, but I do think, and I have found that a lot of the information that you've been sharing on LinkedIn, and especially the work that you've been doing recently, because I know that you've created a brilliant questionnaire to gain lots of knowledge from people just recently, and insight of what's happening in the industry. And for that, you're really communicating, how the lay of the land is to people. And I know that they're very engaged with that and taking a lot from you. And one of the statistics, when we talk about this normal, you found, didn't you, in your results, only 9% of people actually want to return to what normal was that we had. I mean, that's very telling. Go on to share with us more about this that you found.
Yeah, well, I think we kind of started off ourselves with a question. I suppose, like any business, the minute lockdown happened, things changed dramatically, and marketing as an industry, was hit immediately and very, very hard. I suppose it's a classic trend that one of the first budgets that get cut during any recession is marketing. One of the facts of cutting budgets is those that don't are always the ones that come out of a recession stronger and build bigger brands. But obviously that's easy for me to say, even though the evidence suggests, well, the evidence proves it. But when you're sat there wondering how to look after your budgets, maybe it's not such an easy thing to do. But as a company, we develop all our work with a good understanding of what the consumers are thinking. Or what target audiences are thinking, and we sat down and went, well, what exactly are marketing directors thinking? They're all sat at home now. How might we find out? And that maybe we could learn something from that and share those learnings with others as well. So we wrote a survey. Basically, we send out to marketing directors to try and understand what they were thinking. Things like, when do they think that things will go back to normal for them in terms of their marketing activity? Where are they now spending their media money? Do they think they need to change their brands, or are their brands absolutely fine, or do they just need to adapt it for the current time? Lots of questions, and we've had a lot of learnings from that. In fact, we've just finalised this morning all the survey results, and we're just designing that into the final piece, which will be available next week. So we've got quite a few people have requested it. We'll put it out onto social media, but if anybody watching this would like a copy of it, then get in touch with Emily and she'll pass on my details, and we'll make sure that that you get one.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things as well that Emily mentioned is that I've really spent quite a lot of time during lockdown just writing stuff, and just sharing that writing on LinkedIn. So trying to find things. I'm big into innovation. I'm big into creativity, big into what make customers tick and why they do things, why they respond to brands in a certain way, why they buy into some brands, why they don't buy into some brands, and just writing about it and just posting it on LinkedIn every morning pretty much. And I've really enjoyed it. I suppose I found that quite therapeutic, writing that. And it has been I've had some good response to it, which has also been quite encouraging, which has encouraged me to write some more and share some more. So that's been quite a good and enjoyable thing for me to do as well. That I guess probably when business is full on,
Mm-hmm.
you're so busy, in the everyday, that sometimes you don't get the time to do things like that. So it's quite nice to be able to do that.
Thank you. Yeah, it feeds the soul, doesn't it? And I do think that on a subconscious and a conscious level, those the sharing of what's going on inside your mind,
Yeah,
it is a vulnerability initially to put it out, because you think, how will that be received? But what I've found more and more of, much like what you're saying, Richard, is that people are responding to that and saying thank you, because it's again, it's making me feel normal under this current
yeah,
situation, as normal as
yeah,
normal can be, really. And I think that that's creating a community in itself. And again, from some of the I'll put my teeth in statistics that you very kindly shared, is that 90% of people want to maintain these communities that are growing and blossoming.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's really interesting. I mean, in terms of innovation, in terms of where you will think that's going to take us and go, what are your thoughts on that, as an industry, when it comes to continuing with this creating rather, and creativity, and collaboration and community spirit, and where do you think that is going to take it, all of us, really?
Well, innovation's been quite an interesting one for us because obviously we love to focus on innovation. It's kind of innovation, creativity, I suppose, is a bit of a hobby of mine.
Yeah.
So I've been spending time thinking about that. But a really big challenge that happened for our agency, and it was something we really needed to sort out pretty quickly, is that a big part of the way that we work, and quite a unique thing about the way that we work as an agency, is that we co-create with brand stakeholders and customers.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been doing this for 10 years now, and we can develop strategies and ideas directly by working with the brand's customers. And of course, that takes place in rooms with
Mm-hmm.
people in teams. So
Yeah.
we're now in lockdown and we have to do social distancing. So that
Yeah.
really pulled the rug on an important part of how we go about what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And so we knew we needed to innovate on that. And so we did quite a lot of work as a team and started looking at what we needed to do. And basically, we found a way now to co-create online. We can do exactly what we were doing offline, online now. We've developed a way of working with two different pieces of software that allows us to work with consumers. We can put them into separate teams,
Yeah.
and we can run a co-create session whereby we used to have paper post-it notes. Now we've got virtual post-it notes.
Yeah.
It just works exactly the same, but it's online. And we've now done two co-creates for two different clients.
Yeah.
We've worked with one client developing how they should develop a campaign for bouncing back out of COVID, because they didn't really know what their customers might be thinking. So by co-creating with their customers, we got a good understanding of when do the customers think they're going to start engaging again with that brand, and if they were going to engage, what might that brand need to say to them? How might that brand need to behave? And the learnings we got from that have allowed us to create a campaign for that brand, which will help them bounce back out of the current situation. And of course, the things we were learning were very different with regarding their consumers to what they were before all this happened. So we got some unique learnings, and it worked really well. And and it's the session takes a couple of hours. We'll put together certain exercises depending on what the challenges that we need to overcome, and it works very, very good. We were pleased at first. We thought, well, what if this doesn't work? But we had great feedback from the client. And then for another client, we've looked at how they completely change how they communicate their brand,
Mm-hmm.
and are very much looking at the content and structure of their website. So a very different kind of project. But again, we've been able to do it through the virtual co-creation and
Yeah.
got to there. So that's been a big innovation for us. But it was an innovation we had to deal with because we really believe in working closely with the brand's customers and stakeholders to really find unique answers. And our work from the past proves that when we do it, we get really quite different and really, really effective results. So I'm so pleased that we cracked that, because you know, it was a bit nerve-wracking at first, and we went, oh heck, what are we going to do? But yeah, we've figured it out. So yeah, some really smart people in the agency did lots of research, and we've found a good way to do it. So that's our innovation.
Great stuff. And so it's about, in the whole wider sort of picture, the broader picture is very much having an offline and online access to what it is that you do. And it sounds that taking those steps, and like you say, you know, you hold your breath, and it is a risk, and you think, is it going to be well received? And thank you for sharing that, you know, successfully those online versions have worked, and your clients have responded really well to that. And I think that's really positive for people to hear, how it is something that's happening more and more often. People are looking to have a way in which they can flex online and not just offline, if predominantly that's how the work was generated. And you've taken that and you've created something, and you've actioned it and had the positive response. So I think that that's really encouraging to anybody who is thinking about having that that change up, or having an option to lean into when they can and physically not safely possible to see clients. And with that, do you think because this is new to everybody, you know, this situation that we all find ourselves in, do you think that as a business and as an industry within marketing, in terms of changing the landscape of what that looks like, do you think you're going to have to do that more often, you know, little and often, or whereas previously something went for a long period of time, but because thoughts and feelings and the mood of the nation's changing, you know, day to day, week to week, how is that affecting decision making where you are now?
Well, I think if we always go back to a good understanding of the client's customer, and make sure we understand that leads us in wherever we go. So in many ways, we you know, we look at traditional research, we look at many things, and you know, and creativity and ideas is so important to us, that we do really outstanding creative work. But we need that creative work to come from a strategy, and that strategy is formed by a good understanding of who the creative work is aimed at. So in a way, that approach for us is the same, but the outcomes will be different, because the mindset of people have changed. You know, holidays. We were speaking to a client yesterday who works in a particular part of the leisure industry. Yesterday, he had his best day sales ever.
Wow.
And he's more UK based in what I guess his kind of leisure business is. So therefore, you know, we know people are more likely to be looking at staycation at the moment, A, because they can't go abroad because of the way things are, but B, because they're probably looking closer to home. So it's interesting to understand those trends, and we'll be working with him and doing some work on that to, I guess, attract even more customers for him. So it's just really, really interesting the way that people are changing, and how much they'll change is interesting, because one of the facts that we learned from our survey was that only 4% of people think that this situation will make them think more about the environment. And we were gobsmacked at that. We expected that to be a much higher percentage. So some of the learnings we've had of, you know, some have been probably exactly what we imagined we would get, and others have been, wow, didn't think that would be the case, you know. And so good learnings that we'll apply in whatever we're doing.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I know it's it'd be interesting actually to repeat the survey perhaps as well, maybe in like a couple months time, and see if some of those have shifted, you know, if it's repeated with the same group of people, because it's very telling at the moment how mindset, and it's Mental Health Awareness Week,
Yeah.
and you know, I mean, that should be every day, really, shouldn't it? Being so
Mm.
aware of our mental health and well-being,
Yeah.
and it is very interesting how decision making and how we've gone from having many needs to fewer
Mm.
needs, and how that makes us think about what we do day in and day out. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, when it comes back to the family then, Richard, what hacks have you established in your own household with the kids, and what's there that, to all these amazing superhero parents out there who kind of like, whoa, so much respect for teachers now that I don't think they realized previously. But what hacks have you got that you can
Well, I
help?
think, I suppose in a way we've been lucky coming into this in that, our kids are a bit older. My eldest daughter's 22,
Yeah.
my youngest daughter's 18.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a challenging time for them because
Yeah.
my eldest daughter's currently graduating from Manchester Uni,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of pulled the rug for her a bit. She was looking forward to graduation. She's had to submit her work virtually, bit of a virtual, lectures and stuff. And so that's been a bit of a shame. And then my youngest daughter was meant to be doing her A levels. So she's
Yeah.
not doing any exams. So that's been a big change for her. So
Yeah.
luckily we haven't got young ones. We haven't had to do any homeschooling.
Yeah.
And, but all of us in the house all the time, just trying to find space around each other. And has been important. But I think our home learning probably is teaching our kids where the dishwasher is and how you take things out of it and put things in it. Silly little things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a family, watching all the Star Wars films, like I mentioned earlier, we've done that as a family. And there may be things that we wouldn't have done. Obviously, my eldest was away at uni anyway, so she wasn't at home that much. And
Yeah.
my youngest will be setting off to Lancaster to go to uni
Wow.
in September maybe, or next January if it's going to be virtual lectures. So I think life hacks have been just learning to all work around each other and give each other the space that we all need, even though there's four of us, two cats and a dog, all under the same roof.
It's that cooperation, isn't it, under one roof?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
finding new routines. And a lot of people have said how they've gone from their family life, being out passing ships, to now
Yeah.
the new team is at home and all together, and finding ways and dynamics to work around that. So yes, it's lovely, and thank you for sharing. And that'll mean a lot to a lot of people out there who are in the same situation with children of various ages, but certainly at that point where there was some really key things and big milestones happening. And
Yeah.
I
It
know
must be difficult if you've got youngsters. I
yeah,
think homeschooling and trying to work at the same time must be really, really difficult, and I see things like, I don't know, one-upmanship homeschooling stuff, and I
yeah,
just kind of think, well, it doesn't matter, it'll be fine. It's just a couple of months.
yeah,
Uh, it's really not going to hurt them that much, if they're just enjoying some space to do things what kids do.
yeah,
I think that's okay too, and I think that parents need to not beat themselves up too much. I've just seen things and heard things from parents with younger children, and I just kind of think, give yourself a break. And one of our agency values is kindness, and I think that more, it's never been more important now. And I think be kind to yourself.
yeah,
It's easy. I'm a regular on LinkedIn, and I see all these people say now I should be learning all this. I should be evolving myself as an individual, blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. And you think, oh my God, I'm not doing any of that, and it's kind of, you can just put yourself under loads of pressure. And I think if you just want to sit and do nothing, just sit and do nothing. And doing nothing is one of the key stages of creative process anyway. So if you're doing nothing, your subconscious isn't. Your subconscious is working away on something. So, just chill out. and be kind to others. Don't cut everybody a bit of slack. It's hard for everyone, this, and as much as everybody can put on a brave face through a Zoom call or a Slack call, what's going on around them, it might be difficult for them at that moment in time. So just give everybody a bit of slack as well. I think that's also important. But I think kindness is a key value for anyone at the moment.
Definitely. Buckets of kindness, buckets of love.
Yeah.
And I saw something last night on Facebook, and it talked about if we're having a wobble, it's all right. And I just shared it, and I said, if you haven't heard though, that the other bit, if you have a wibble, it's the best days. So
Yeah.
good to have a wibble and a wobble, and that is at the heart of it. It's people and everything. If I were to pull together all of these wonderful things that you've so kindly shared with us today, Richard, it's definitely about community. It's about coming together and co-creating and collaboration,
Yeah.
and being kind, and finding those moments like you did and you shared with us right at the start, where it's about going out and having some things and some time for you to enjoy, and again, the memories when you look back with your family about Star Wars and just spending that wonderful time together. It's beautiful. And watch this space, because you've gathered momentum, you've taken risks, you've got your online version of what you're doing with businesses, and they're excited by it, and it's going to keep growing and innovating. So thank you so much for sharing everything with us today. It's been great this time, and I wish you every success. And let's keep staying in touch, and I'm going to go try and get that bright yellow mug from the office and bring it back here so I can have my
do that.
yeah. I will.
No, thanks very much, Emily. I can go and put my scruffy outdoor clothing on again now, can't I? Put the shirt back in the wardrobe. It might come out again in 2 months. Who knows? Might get lucky. Maybe it'll be before 2 months.
Feel like you've been shopping again. Put some tags and bags. In the wardrobe.
It's amazing what we'll all discover in our wardrobes when we eventually look.
Who knew? It was there.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Pleasure, absolute pleasure. And all the best. Stay safe, stay well. All the best to family, friends, and loved ones. And that shirt.
Thank you, and all the best to everybody watching this. I hope you're doing good, and just do your best and enjoy everything that you can. I think we'll come out of this soon now, and the good times will roll again for us all.
That's it, and we'll all come out stronger, won't we?
We will.
Yeah. Thank you, Richard, and take care. All the very best. Bye.
Bye.